Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the break. What I am going to do right now is finish up this calculator. So I need some styles, but before I need styles, we need to hook up what number is displayed in the button and what the action does. So as I can see here the property inside the button component, I am going to have symbols call and action. So what I am going to do in the first, the first thing that I can do really simple and see it as get rid of that one. I am gonna open up curly braces and I am gonna to say this dot prompt stock symbol and hit save. And now you are going to see all the symbol that just have populated into the button, and that's exactly what we want. Now any other thing is that I need to rig up the action. So this prop action is a function that take in the symbol and passive symbol over to the button action function, which in this case is add to the current or reset. So I'm gonna going create and click handler. I'm gonna to take parameter for no reason, just so that I can use the arrow. I mean it would be much more accurate to do this in empty parameters list. And then I'm gonna to save this stop prop and stop action. I'm gonna to pass through the stop symbol. I'm gonna to save it, and now when I press this nothing happening. And then there is a little bit in add to current. Let's go ahead and console log symbol save. Then I'm gonna to open up our console here. Alright, so a few things, and a good thing for JavaScript for catching this, I don't use class. I use class name save this. And then another thing is that within the mapping function the header component needs to have the unique key, which is just going to be the index, and that's why I am passing an I there. Alright, so any other thing is that I am setting up the value here without actually setting a non-change event. So it is set default, and actually I need to set the value because if I do this right now and it is not an update, if yes we do need a value and there is still not getting any action here happening. So what I am gonna do is there's some disconnect between this prop and here the calling action align of what it is. I forgot the parameter and symbol, and let's save this. Then there we go. So I'm gonna to getting an input. So I do need a change of few things. So if this current state is 0, well I'm gonna be a few different ways that I can do this. I'm not sure exactly how right now for this. So let's stay up this tile a bit. So if the column is to our right, let's go over this, and then in the div itself we are gonna need a class name that's going to be dependent on a variable, and that's going to be the call. So this prop call is going to be either 12 or 3. So what I'm gonna need to do is instead of opening up quotation here, I'm gonna have to use the bit of value for that variable. I'm going to open up the curly braces, and now in there is a way that I'm gonna to do this. I'm gonna to be embedded the variable in the testing, and there is the 6 with react. That's way that we can do this inside this curly braces, that I'm gonna to need to find the back tag key on the keyboard. It's actually directly below the escape key. It's gonna look something like when you do it. What you are doing is now it is type in regular text. So in this case it is going to be the column dash, and then within here I'm gonna to embed it the variable. This prompt call, so I'm gonna to need to put a dollar sign and then to the color braces, and then we can now write JavaScript within the letter tag here. So I'm gonna to say this dot prompt stock call, and that I'm gonna to save it. And now if we look we can see column there, and the column 3 is gonna to have be 75% wide. So what's gonna to be 75%? Then flow is going to the left. So now we need to add a css file. So within here we are going to create a new file in css directory called style.css. Hit enter, and we are going to say column dash 3, and this is class. So we need that not at the front with 75% float left column 2. I'm going to say that going to be 50% and float. Then the column dash 1 is going to be within 25% and float. I'm gonna to save this. This is going to refresh. It's not because I have not included the style sheet within our application. So in the app.js file that I'm gonna to close this sidebar for a moment. I'm gonna to import in the current directory. Look for css.css, gonna hit and it will semicolon and hit save, and there we go. This is our calculator very basically, but all the buttons are far too small. So what you are going to do is you are going to style the button all together. So I'm going to add a button class, not even a class. Actually, I think we do use a class that we key into the something, a copy call button here, and there is some button that I'm going to write button. So this is going to be the element or targeting, and then this is the class name of the element. So if there is a button with this class name, this is the style that I'm going to get. So I'm going to need to play around with a little bit. So I'm going to save this, and then it should be the style element here for the button. I'm gonna to say this is gonna be 100% and then already looking a lot better. I'm gonna say padding, actually let's go with the height and let's say 100 pixel. That's looking a lot better. Border is gonna be 2 pixels solid. We are gonna make this gray, obviously a little gray darker, and then the background is going to be the lighter. There we go. Now the font size itself is gonna need to become up at 22 pixel or 32. There we go, just by adding a few simple style, and then the color is going to be not so dark. Okay, did I just think that I just stumbled upon something really interesting here which I definitely want to explain. So hexacolor come with two variants and that you can use. I'm gonna set just the property here. We can see it's going to be white. This is the three value here, hexadecimal from 0 all the way up to 5. So the property will be 0 or like each of these character can be arranged from 0 all the way that it is called the hexadecimal. Now along this range 0 is going to be the darkest and X is going to be the lightest or the most of the red color. So if this key right here FFF, you have the three value that all set to the lightest and that's our GB. So for instance, if I wanted all the way to the top and no GB, then I will go at the 00 and that would result in the color with F or rather G or the red being the full tilt and absolutely no green or blue in it. Then again you can add F over here and you will get full red, full blue and no green in that result in the pink. Then if you add up here that's full red, full green, full blue, you know have white. Okay, sorry for that tangent here. And that's what hex is now to tune. So each one of these digits can be you can use to digit to define each RGB item. If I want you to use a 6 character format, we know have white, but no these two characters represent the red. These two characters no represent green and the last two represent the blue. So if I want to full on the red that I do this alright. So no we have the range. So the first thing I would like counting when you get only 20, the second digit is going to change for smaller increment. That's exactly the same here. So if I start changing the second parameter, I can go all the way down to 0 before it flips around. I start going to EF, that will be the next one down, and then there etc. Alright, so let's how hexacolor works. I just found a really interesting CSS thing that I didn't even know that was integrated. If you guys knew this, it terribly sorry for wasting your time. Skip ahead about a minute, but there we can use a 4-digit text code and then the last digit is defining capacity. So one there is not very opaque, but if I said that is 5, it is fully opaque. So if I were to set the after 001 kind of opaque to and I go up, it gets more and more. And which is just that kind of blew me away there. Alright, anyway, sorry about that. I'm gonna to set this to color of the button that gonna be copy all this is doing on paste it here and save it. And now we have got our button. Now the input field needs to change a bit too. So what I am going to do is I'm going to set a height equal to 100 pixel. I'm going to set the width to the 100% border is going to none. Text align is going to vary and then font size is gonna be I don't remember. We set a 32 pixel. Alright. Actually let's add a bit of padding. So let's say 10 pixel. Let's make it too wide. I wonder if I set position to relative or max with 200 view weight, still that gonna be, and I will set it to then auto. Then we are going to say margin right 0 and then floor right. Alright, now the margin right, let's add 10 pixel, 20 pixel. Alright, there we go. So this is our, let me get into the app. So see what class name we gave that results. So input dot result, copy this here, get rid of that rules and save it. There we go. So you have mostly styled the calculator in the add that is using the step here. What we need to do is we need to set sort of operation in a flow. I can type 2, 4, 5 times and it is saved the value and then put the time sign here. Then the next input that I put in the set that alright. So I'm gonna do something very similar. So that I'm gonna need is I think we can do it in the array way that I'm gonna to use previous here. Then I'm gonna need to render what of kind of the floating above this. So I want to put in the if condition. If you know this state, if I cannot do it like this, so I'm just going to write the condition here itself, just like we did in the past. So this dot state dot previous length is over 0. We are gonna put a question mark. So if that rings true, we are going to do something else. We define as that by the little column. We are going to create a div class named floaty last sure. Then we are going to do this dot st star previous, and that I am going to get the last item out of it. So this stock state that previous stock length minus 1 that we're going to close. That's did we are going to save this, and what we need to do is when we press on the divide time minus or plus, these need to have the different action than all of these other button. So add to the current is going to test in if let's create an array that of all possible symbol that we wanna do something different with capital X. So if this dot index of the symbol is more than minus 1, we are going to do something. If not, we are not going to do the same or add to the current. So I'm gonna to save, and what we are gonna do is we are going to take the current operation or the state current, and we are gonna add that to the previous array. So I'm gonna to let previous equal this dot state. So I'm going to get the previous array using due to our previous talk, and I'm going to get the state by the plus symbol, and then we are going to set a state, and this set state previous, and we can either to find that as a property and then the value here like so, and we mostly always do. But if it is the same name, so here we have got that variable from the state, we don't have to do this. We can set like this, and what this will do it is I will use for a key name, and I will use the value of previous as the value. So I'm gonna to save this, I'm gonna to hit save, and then I'm gonna to say 65 times. I did not see that happen. Maybe let's try and find out our floating. No, alright, let's go ahead and look at it, and previous it is still nothing. So this is not working current symbol. Let's push instead of their cab. Let's me try that. We are definitely pass that check there 65 times. There we go. Just could not it happened here. So then this float a bit. What I am gonna do is I am gonna to style this really quick. I am gonna to say position absolute right is gonna be 50 pixel, that index is gonna be 99, and then the top gonna be 10 pixel, on the color it's gonna be red. So there we go. So the floating light is going to style as such. Save this, and now any other thing that we need to do is if this dot current is just 0, and I mean we could do that like this. Alright, if the 0, if the symbol is not adapt, so what I am gonna to say this if dot js dot current equals 0, a later no one. So we are using the 3 equal sign, and it's gonna to test the value and the value variable. So this is the string where the value is 0, and this is basically required. So if it is 0 and symbol is not equal to dot, that we are going to do the same thing that we are currently doing. Actually not is not that big, so we will just return this symbol. So it's gonna to set it. Let me say this show you. So this is your own. When I hit 6, it's going to change the input 6 else. We need to have the KitKat needed this dot state dot current and then plus the symbol. I am going to save it, and now we can type 65. When it is replayed at the 0 take away, this is good setup. See, now when we hit a number where the last operation was, one none of these we need to do check. So if one of these, when we set the state, we also need to set replace next, that we are going to need a new property in this state, and that is the reset. It's gonna be the wealth, and then when this is true, then we enter one of these value. We are going to set next in the reset equals to, and then I'm going to save this, and we need to cache that in there. So the way that I'm gonna to do that, it's gonna be if actually a key into the light here. So I'm gonna wrap into the parentheses, and then I'm gonna to use our in a statement this just here next is the reset. Though I am gonna to save this, and then I am gonna to say next is to reset to default. Save it, and then we will go over what I have just done in just one moment. Let me show you guys first 65 plus 24. So the flow of this right here, let me reset it, and this does do anything right now. Let me go to the reset its current. Yes, that's right. Current 0 should we always remove the previous. I feel like we should previous basically that the C button is going to reset altogether, and I guess again we should do next is to reset just in case they reset under a certain circumstances. Alright, we have got a 65 plus 24, we can reset it. There we go, and this is all managed. That equal sign, we are gonna have to do something different, and I think we have all the right add to the current. So instead of n1 equal, we are going to add to the current. We are going to say it as calculate in the same, and then what we are going to calculate is going to be the 54 plus 32. Alright, So in this instance, what we are going to calculate, that we are going to take the current value, that I am going to take this, and let me check if we can do this something really unsafe here. We can evaluate that. That's exactly what we are gonna do. It's not really that safe, but to cut the corner right now, that I exactly what we are going to do. So when this is equivalent said that we need the method called calculate, it's going to take in the symbol. We really don't care about the symbol, but just with the way that we have rigged up the button to pass, that to the action, we gonna have to take in any way that we are gonna to do this. We are going to get the loss from the previous array, we are going to get the current, and we are going to evaluate it and set that the current and erase the previous, essentially ending up with the result. And I am going to change the symbol of the multiply from that to that, just because. Let's go ahead and get this done. So from this state, I am going to get current, previous, and next is reset from this state. So I am going to say the current is going to equal to, well, we are going to need to do some error checking here. So if it is a previous, so if previous thought length greater than 0, then we are going to move forward, and we are going to say current equal previous, then the previous total length minus 1, and we are going to get the last array, the item in the previous array. So the current is the last current, we are gonna need to evaluate this. So now I have got those two string concatenated. We are gonna do, I am gonna make sure I am getting a string while I am using use operator in this here. I would not want to interfere with the evaluation, and then I am gonna to wrap that in any bow method like this. And then we are going to call this set state on the current, previous, and next is reset. It's gonna be equal true. Let's go ahead and save this. Alright, let's see what this done. So I am gonna say 25 plus 35 equals 60, and we did not clear previous yet. I forgot I have to do that. So I'm just setting getting an empty array. So let's say 72 times 12 equal, and something messed up there. He said 25 plus. Okay, so I forgot when I did this symbol here and replace the old symbol x symbol. See, we need that in here to do the same thing that we are going to with this other symbol to add to previous and whatnot. So now we have a calculator and it should work. We could be able to for resize. Alright, I mean it's responsive, but if you load it really big, it's gonna look terrible. That's fine. For now, let's go 32 divided by 12 equal 2 point, and I mean we are getting result. That is good stuff. Let's say 56 plus 2 is 58 plus 6 52710. 53 times. Now hey, this is here. We are gonna have this problem. I don't think we are gonna cover that, just because we are at about 1 by 2 hours for this video. And so I think that's what we are gonna leave it for right now. And 0.22 times 2 equals 0.446. There we go. You guys, we just build a calculator using React and the state and the props and a bunch of other stuff. I hope you guys have learned a lot. I am gonna add this code to my GitHub repository, so looking the description or the discussion to get the link of the project if you want to have it as a reference. But go ahead and build the calculator. This is just the beginning. I am gonna to get into much cooler things, something that I am interested in, that I wanna work toward is building a Pong game. It's going to be, we are going to have defined some user flow to be able to set up multiple clients. So it could be the multiplayer game experience on two different clients. So thank you guys for joining me in this video, and in the next video I want to start looking at the bootstrap. I think we might end up the slicing a website, static a website into the React, as using React has a backend for it. So if you really like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with your friend, and subscribe the YouTube channel Get Excitement for more videos like this. I will see you guys in my next video.